Coming up, you're going to enjoy this one. You know, some songs start as hits, but they end up as punchlines. Oversaturation, endless mocking, and viral internet culture can transform a former chart topper into a pop culture punching bag. Today, we're counting down 6 tracks and artists that went from beloved to the butt of the joke. We've got great stories, like the time a talk show host teased a soft rock superstar, so much so that soft rocker threatened to end his life by sending a softball through his head at their next charity softball game. He did that in the press. Or how about when the star of the highest grossing film of the 20th century said that movie's theme, a massive #1 hit, makes her throw up in her mouth every time she hears it because fans won't stop playing it for her wherever she is. Then there's the music journalist who was locked inside a listening booth at a Best Buy, and he was forced to listen to the song that his magazine called the worst song of all time for 24 hours straight, a world record. Plus there's a song that's so annoying, I'd rather be waterboarded than listen to it. We're covering the rock era's best musical punchlines coming up next. Let's do it. Hey, music junkies, Professor Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you ever owned a mini disc player, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below. Click the bell so you know when our stuff comes out. Also, make sure to grab your Vintage Years collection shirt. We've got a special on going through the month. All right, we're going to count down those classic hits so they become punchlines. Kicking things off at number 6, I've got Europe with the final countdown.
It's the final countdown.
Now, this Swedish heavy rock outfit traces its origins all the way back to 1978, but they found their own version of rock immortality when they released the final countdown in 1986. The apocalyptic track hit #1 in the UK and #8 here in the US. The song went multi-platinum, but in the process, it would set a standard so high, the band would really never be able to match it after. Of course, Europe had other hits, especially in the UK and in their home turf in Sweden. Even here in the US, Rock the Night went to #30, Carrie reached #3, and Superstitious went to #31.
You better believe it's right. Rock now, rock the night. Carry that you can. Well, I'm not superstitious.
Cherokee did pretty well, but you know, most everybody thinks that they're a one-hit wonder. In fact, I've seen numerous countdown shows that rank the final countdown as one of the greatest one-hit wonders of the 80s. But over the long haul, you know, none of their other hits have stuck quite like the final countdown. The unforgettable synth riff that became this universal cue that a big moment was coming. Here's the thing though, the final countdown wasn't even written for radio, or even to be a song at all in that way. Said Joey Tempest, it was meant to be an opening for the live show. We were putting out our 3rd album and we wanted a really grand opening for the show. And I've actually had that riff tucked away in a drawer since my college years, and I took it out, I found a tempo for it, and I wrote lyrics, and it turned out to be a great opening for that album and for the show as well. Now, when conversation started about the music, that music being shaped into an actual song, it was met with a lot of resistance within the band. John Norum didn't like the synth riff at all. He felt that it was too pop for their metal sound. They were trying for something heavier. After Europe languished in the 90s, though, the band recycled the final countdown for the lead up to the new millennium, to market it there. Releases the final countdown 2000 on December 7th, 1999. This version was a dance remix of the original. It was actually produced by Brian Rawling, who had worked with Cher on her big 90s comeback, Believe. So they thought they had something here.
Oh, do you believe in life after love?
Europe did not like that mix at all, though, said drummer Ian Hogland. That remix was a disaster. I wouldn't pass water on it if it was on fire. But it's this side of the year 2000 where things get interesting for the song. Started getting peppered into all kinds of pop culture. Actually, I went into IMDb and I counted over 120 media placements for the song since 2000. To name a few, I mean, it appears in The Rocker and Chuck and Scrubs, Pitch Perfect, Gotham, Glee.
It's the final countdown.
Mythbusters, Top Gear, Superstore, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Tetris the Movie, and Family Guy. But I gotta call out Arrested Development for its masterful use of the song. Of course, Arrested Development changed everything for the final countdown. It started in 2004 when the song was used in 13 episodes across the show's off and on 15-year, 5-season run. Arrested Development transformed the Final Countdown from a bit of a serious 80s anthem into a theme for, let's just say, delusional failure. It became the walk-on music for, of course, the incompetent magician named Joe Bluth, whose illusions were consistently terrible, let's be honest. The show used those epic synthesizers to mock his misplaced confidence in the botched magic tricks. The song, of course, became the punchline, and because Arrested Development is endlessly rewatchable, the song's context was rewired to a new generation. Now when people hear that opening riff, it's about absurdity, especially young people. Actually, a few months ago, I was talking to my son and his friends about walkout songs for sports, and that song came up, and they said, nobody can use that song anymore because you can't hear it without thinking of that lame guy from Arrested Development. And there's been a few other occasions where the same conversation happened. I've seen it online too. I guess you have to be careful how someone's going to use your song because it can change the meaning of it. The cultural transformation was complete, though. The Final Countdown became the go-to cue for when reality falls hilariously short of the drama the music promises. To their credit, though, Joey Tempest and the band came to embrace that joke. In later interviews, they acknowledged that the Final Countdown was their calling card, and in an overblown, slightly ridiculous anthem at that. Rather than fight the reputation, they actually kind of leaned into it. And that attitude set the stage for the Geico commercial appearance, which framed the song as a knowingly goofy build-up soundtrack in a mundane office setting.
If you're the band Europe, you love a Final Countdown. It's what you do.
Good for them. It's cool. And as you'll see on this countdown, it's also generational. For Gen X, this song and other songs can mean something different than to millennials or Gen Y or Gen Z. All right, coming into number 5, I've got the feuding brothers of Oasis, who are bigger than ever, Liam and Noel Gallagher, with the biggest hit from their catalog, Wonderwall. So, have you ever wondered what Wonderwall is, a Wonderwall? If you have, you're not alone. Actually, Noel nicked the title from George Harrison's 1968 experimental soundtrack album Wonderwall Music, which was the first solo release by a Beatle. The song was originally titled Wishing Stone, after a girl handed him a stone for good luck. Noel renamed it after listening to George Harrison's album, though. He thought, brilliant, I've got a Beatles connection there. Oasis' supersonic assault on America actually started way back in 1994, their debut album, Definitely Maybe. Although you wouldn't know it from the mainstream numbers. Definitely Maybe stalled at number 58 on the Billboard 200, and it failed to place any singles on the Hot 100 back then. However, on the U.S. alternative charts, singles Rock and Roll Star went to number 36, Supersonic went to a number 11, and Live Forever reached number 2. Then a year later, in October of 95, Oasis dropped What's the Story Morning Glory. That climbed to number 4 on the U.S. albums chart and was huge. 4 singles did really well on the alternative charts from that one. A Morning Glory hit number 24, Don't Look Back in Anger made it to number 10, and Champagne Supernova reached number 1. What's the story, Morning Glory? Well, we don't look back in anger. I heard you say the Champagne Supernova in the sky. And then, of course, there was Wonderwall, which not only was an alternative number 1, but it peaked at number 8 on the Hot 100. It's one of the greatest songs of its time, there's no question. But it's the wannabe guitar men that have made it a bit of a joke. Let me explain. Back in the UK, Oasis was receiving the kind of media attention that had previously been reserved for bands like the Beatles. And for good or bad, their legend was growing. Before long, Oasis was playing concerts in front of hundreds of thousands of people. But with the massive attention and the success of Oasis, the volatile relationship of the Gallagher brothers came under constant public scrutiny. From their sex lives or drug habits and fistfights, they were all examined in full. It was a car crash that you couldn't look away from, right? And as the years rolled on, Wonderwall took on a life of its own, embedding itself deep into pop culture, the culture at large. The iconic track secured numerous media placements, showing up in shows like Girls, and Misfits, and Frequency, also Yellow Jackets.
Gotta do. I don't believe in anybody.
But even more telling is how Wonderwall became one of the most universally covered songs of all time. I mean, artists everywhere lined up to do their own version of it. There was Better Than Ezra, One Republic, Natalie Merchant, Bare Naked Ladies, Kelly Clarkson did a version, The Killers, Lisa Loeb, Rob Thomas, Jason Mraz, Amy Mann, Beastie Boys. Jim Blossoms did one. And Weezer did it. On and on and on.
You know the piano solo like this.
The over-the-top coverage, it kind of was to Wonderwall's detriment, in my opinion. The ease of learning the song on acoustic guitar, that led to an explosion of coffeehouse covers and open mic concerts and YouTube cover videos. On March 14, 2012, on the site We Know Memes, a photo of a guy smiling with a guitar was captioned, "I don't know that one. Here, let me play Wonderwall again." And that meme taunted amateur guitarists and hipsters and douchebags in general for playing the song at parties to try to pick up girls. And then a year and a half later, the phrase, "Anyway, here's a Wonderwall," that entered the pop culture lexicon. It was popularized by a viral YouTube video from Julia Banks, who deadpanned the song's intro on her ukulele before twisting the lyrics into a Christmas rant.
I'm Julia. Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
That exploded on Tumblr and Reddit and, of course, across YouTube. Even before that, I got to tell you, I remember at a college party or two, there was always that one guy with the frosted tips and a cheap guitar playing the two songs he knew to impress the ladies. It was always Wonderwall and some Jack Johnson cover, right? The oversaturation of Wonderwall, which actually boasts like 2.6 billion streams on Spotify alone, then there's another billion plus on YouTube. Well, it became a bit of a curse to Oasis. But actually, Liam was ahead of the curve. 2008, he said, "Every time I have to sing it, I want to gag." I mean, really, I think the guys have a love-hate relationship with the song. And whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying that Wonderwall has become one of those punchlines in rock and roll, which is sad because really, it's one of the greatest songs of its time. All right, heading into the number 4 spot, I've got a song that's over 40 years old. We Built This City by Starship. It's hard to believe.
We built this city on rock and roll.
All right, in the past, this number 1 hit from 1985 has been called out as the worst song ever, which is completely off the mark. Let's be clear. First of all, any song is the worst of all time from that era. It's Disco Duck, parody or not. Plus, every single week on the top 40 countdown right now, half the songs could vie for the worst song ever. But, music's so subjective, and opinions are not indisputable facts, so I'm going to push back on Starship's worst song narrative here. Because I know at least as many people who love this track as who despise it. And honestly, if you take it for what it is, catchy pop song, it takes you back to the 80s, and that's never a bad thing. I mean, it's always a good time when Marconi plays the Mamba. And it's true that somebody somewhere is always playing corporation games. So by the time Starship was knee-deep in the hoopla in 1985, co-lead vocalist Grace Slick, she was the only original member left standing from the legendary first iteration Jefferson Airplane. But after this song, she really wished she wasn't. She would actually later join in bad-mouthing the track. Written by one of the most revered songwriters of all time, though, Elton John's cohort, Bernie Taupin, along with one of my favorite people from the industry, Martin Page, great guy. We Built This City started as a very different song. Writing with Martin, Bernie crafted the lyrics about the decline of live music in the LA music scene. As Taupin described it, the original song was a very dark kind of mid-tempo song, and it didn't have all this "we built this city" in it. It had none of that. It was a very dark song about how club life in LA was being killed off and live acts really had no place to go. It was a very specific thing. Well, the song got reworked by producer Peter Wolf and became this 80s thing, right? And crafted the chorus, started pitching the demo to different artists, and eventually it landed in the hands of Starship. It became a pop powerhouse hit for them, going to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and becoming one of the biggest songs of the year. It actually won over critics and fans alike. Cashbox called it an ear-catching tune, and Billboard said this unusual rock and roll anthem is as wise as it is rebellious. But oh, how the turntables... Little Michael Scott reference for you there. 2004, Blender Magazine and VH1 crowned We Built This City as the worst song ever made, transforming it from cheesy hit status into a cultural punching bag. They called the song sexless and corporate, saying it sounds less like a song than something built in a lab by a team of record company executives. Man, little did they know that that's pretty much how every song in the top 40 is made right now. But before anyone falls into line with this narrative, let's take a closer look at Blender's list. I mean, yeah, it includes tracks like Achy Breaky Heart, not my favorite, and Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart.
Don't worry, be happy.
But it also includes The End by The Doors, The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, A Horse with No Name by America, True by Spandau Ballet, Broken Wings by Mr. Mister, and The Heart of Rock and Roll by Huey Lewis, some of my favorite songs of all time.
Beautiful friend, catch the sound of silence. Desert on a horse with no name, it felt good to be out of the rain. This much is true. Take these broken wings, put the heart of rock and roll's defeated.
I gotta say, this list is really misguided and kind of dumb. I'd like to point out that all these songs, including We Built This City, they're still killing it. And Blender is extinct. Even so, Blender's hit list started making waves in the media at that point. And VH1 turned it into a 2-hour special. The 50 most awesomely bad songs ever. And so We Built This City started taking a pounding from there. And then in 2006, Blender took aim at the song once again. But this time it was over a publicity stunt that put writer Russ Heller inside a plexiglass booth at a Manhattan Best Buy to listen to the song for 24 hours straight. That's 324 times in a row for those keeping count.
Well, they were looking for a victim, and I'm game for anything.
Hey, any song would get horribly annoying after 324 listens. It would be officially verified as the world record for the most consecutive listens of We Built This City. Now, Russ was not allowed to wear earplugs, and inside the booth he had a chair and snacks and, whatever he needed to survive the long haul, so it wasn't that bad. Outside the booth, there was a large sign that was placed nearby explaining the challenge. Now, by the time he was finished, Heller said the experience was psychological torture, saying the song eventually stopped sounding like music and just became a rhythmic pulsing noise in his brain that still haunts him to this day. In 2011, Rolling Stone opened it up to the readers who voted it the worst song of the entire 80s. But, I mean, come on. There's no way that We Built This City is the worst song of the 80s, let alone all time. Don't even get me started on Rolling Stone. When have they ever been a reliable barometer for good music over the last 20 years or so? Or in this case, bad music. But anyway, I'll give the song's original creator, Bernie Taupin, the last word on this one, though. He said, it was voted the worst song of all time in Spin or something, which I don't necessarily disagree with considering the way it turned out. Though I shouldn't say that because it was an incredibly successful song. It probably helped send my children to college. And I like that they played at sporting events, being a sports fanatic. All right, coming in at number 3, I've got the Canadian queen of power ballads, Celine Dion, and the song that made Titanic star Kate Winslet want to throw up in her mouth. It's My Heart Will Go On. And don't worry, I'll only play the song a few times. The question is there anybody who likes this song? I mean, if you do, that's okay, no judgment here. But this might be a rough segment for you. If you do, you might just want to sit it out or fast forward it. All right, so Celine broke into the U.S. pop charts in 1990 with her single If There Was Any Other Way. It hit number 35 on the Hot 100 here. And from there, she started stringing together a slew of top 40 hits, including Where Does My Heart Beat Now? And If You Ask Me To. Both of those went to number 4 in the early 90s. And in 93, Celine grabbed her first number 1 hit with The Power of Love. She did it again in 96 with a huge hit, Because You Love Me, from the album Falling Into You. That LP actually had 3 top 5 hits, and Celine was approaching the peak of her pop culture powers. Enter December of 1997. Do you remember where you were? And what was at the time the highest grossing film ever in Titanic? Currently sits at about $2.264 billion. The famed DiCaprio-Winslet flick was 3 hours and 14 minutes of pure romantic disaster and spectacle. And even though everybody knew how the movie ended before you even saw it, and love it or hate it, there's no arguing this film was a pop culture tidal wave. It's no wonder that the song that became its calling card went on to become an undeniable hit. Everybody saw it. My Heart Will Go On went to #1 in over 30 countries. It was everywhere and played ad nauseum. Just the single itself would sell over 4 million copies in the US alone and around 10 million worldwide. Just the single. In that moment, Celine seemed unsinkable. But like the Titanic itself, My Heart Will Go On was on a collision course with an ill-fated destiny. Now, just like We Built the City, My Heart Will Go On landed on Blender's 50 Worst Songs Ever at number 50 in 2004, which was just 6 years later. And though the legitimacy of that list is questionable at best, they probably got this one mostly right. Blender called it out for the unconscionable crime of adding pan flute solos to the pop lexicon. And of course, holding nothing back, they also said, and I quote exactly, Canadian dynamo Celine Dion pushes arena-sized schmaltz into the red. Never has a song about all-consuming love sounded so trivial and been so inescapable. It powered the Titanic soundtrack to a year-topping 10 million copies sold and made millions more pray that an iceberg would actually somehow hit Dion. Wow, that's kind of harsh. Jump ahead to 2012, actress Kate Winslet openly admitted that the Titanic theme that she had helped make iconic makes her want to throw open her mouth whenever she hears it. Apparently fans would play it every time she walked into a restaurant or wherever. Maybe she wishes that the song had been drowned in the icy waters of the Atlantic instead of DiCaprio, I'm sure. But it might surprise you to know that even Celine Dion hated the song, at least at first. Said Celine, and I quote, "When I recorded it, I didn't think about a movie. I didn't think about radio. I thought, sing the song and then get the heck out of here." Well, reportedly, James Cameron wasn't a fan of the song either, and he was actually against ending Titanic with the track. As YouTube and social media exploded, My Heart Will Go On became a go-to soundtrack for So Dramatic Is Funny edits.
Anger's not the way of the jet.
Talking about last-second buzzer beaters and touchdown clips and melodramatic scenes from blockbuster movies. The trend was dubbed Selena Scene, and I'm not gonna lie, some really funny clips out there that use this song to great effect. So this is gonna stop you dead in your tracks. How long has it been since this movie came out? Closing in on 30 years since this blockbuster track hit the airwaves. Can you believe that? What's your opinion about this one? Do you wish My Heart Will Go On would have gone down with the Titanic like I do? Or does it have enough nostalgia bait to find a place on one of your more incognito playlists? Tell us what you think in the comments below. I'm just totally teasing. If you like it, great. All right, we made it to number 2, the runner-up position. And for this one, I'll be honest, I've got the artist figured out, but I couldn't really narrow the selection down to just one song. There's just too many worthy candidates. How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? How Can We Be Lovers? When a Man Loves a Woman? The worst version of it. Said I Loved You, But I Lied. Love the title, by the way. That's right, we're going all in on Michael Bolton for the next 5+ minutes, so strap in. Michael Bolton has taken more than his fair share of ribbing over the years about his personal brand of soft rock. But for the most part, he's been a pretty good sport about it, save a few things here, depending on the situation. I actually have a really funny Michael Bolton story, personal run-in with him, but I can't share it. Maybe someday. Bolton came into his own in the late 80s with his 6th studio album, Soul Provider. Here in the U.S., that went 6 times platinum and scored 3 top 10 hits on the Hot 100. How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? How Can We Be Lovers? And When I'm Back on My Feet Again, which is not a bad song.
When I'm back on my feet again.
Michael kept the party going with the 8-time platinum LP Time, Love, and Tenderness that hit in 91. That album gifted us 3 more top 10 hits. Love Is a Wonderful Thing, When a Man Loves a Woman. Oh, it's such a bad version. And the Bring You Back from the Brink title track, Time, Love, and Tenderness.
Love is a wonderful thing. Gives a broken heart like time, love, and tenderness.
And then you've also got the number 12 collaboration with Mr. Kenny G, Missing You Now. More top 40 hits would follow into the mid-90s, and Bolton got 1 more top 10 with Said I Loved You, But I Lied. But by this point, his commercial appeal was starting to wane.
Missing you now.
Not that that would slow him down, really. As of this video, Michael Bolton has continued to release albums up through 2023, making it 25 studio albums in total. And let's not forget, this guy has a hell of a voice. He really does. I got to give him credit. He was a hell of a hard rock singer before he did all this fluff, actually, as well. What might have been. All right, so let's have a little fun. To kick off the punchlines, I got to go straight to Office Space. Released on February 9th, 1999, this was a satire that every 9-to-5 office worker didn't know they needed. The movie follows Peter Gibbons, a miserable software company employee who, after some botched hypnotherapy, just pretty much stops caring about his job. It's hilarious, one of my favorites from the time. He shows up at his job, but he could care less. Somehow he accidentally becomes the company consultant's favorite worker while his friends face layoffs. From there, Peter and his coworkers make a plan to get revenge on their employer, Initech, and of course, chaos ensues. One of the best parts of the movie, though, is the running gag about the character named Michael Bolton. He's always getting asked if he's related to that one singer.
I'll be honest with you, I love his music. I do. I'm a Michael Bolton fan.
When he's asked why he just doesn't go by Mike, he says, "No way, why should I change? He's the one who sucks."
You just go by Mike instead of Michael.
No way. Why should I change? He's the one who sucks.
Later, he has a chance to suck up to the consultants when they tell him how much they love the singer, Michael Bolton, but he just can't bring himself to do it. Man, I say that line at least once a month since I saw that movie back in the day.
You being have the same name as him. I celebrate the guy's entire catalog. Anyway.
The real Bolton had a good sense of humor about it, though, because later in 2015, he appeared in a Funny or Die sketch called Office Space with Michael Bolton. It's really good. I recommend it.
For my money, I don't know if it gets any better than when he sings When a Man Loves a Woman.
All right, so now we go to 2002 when Bolton became the center of another gag on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Conan starts off talking about how he made a joke about Michael Bolton a couple of years earlier. And apparently, it made Michael really angry. Conan explained that he had met Bolton at a charity softball game, and he thought he was a nice guy. But then Conan revealed that he found a news story that was titled, "Bolton Ignores His Detractors Except for Conan O'Brien." And in this piece, Michael Bolton is quoted as saying exactly, "If we ever play another softball game together, I'm going to drive the ball through his head. He will not survive the game." Of course, that quote was the catalyst for comedy gold.
He plays third base, but he better play outfield because he won't survive the game.
Afraid for his life, Conan actually prepared for the next softball game with his trumpet player, Mark Pender, who dresses up as Bolton and, hits softballs at him in this sketch. In a dark comedic turn, Pender is killed by a softball to the head, leading to a dramatic reveal that Michael Bolton is actually responsible.
Killed by a softball?
The video ends with Bolton calling Conan at his desk and playing the song, "How Am I Supposed to Live Without You?" There's a lot more Bolton fun to go around, but we got to move on. I've spent a little bit more time than I should on this. Which Michael Bolton song do you think is most mockable, though? Or are you a fan? Again, great voice. Bolton! All right, speaking of softballs, or curveballs for that matter, I got to give an honorable mention to my favorite singer of all time, Frank Sinatra. It's a joke that not a lot of people know about. It's a disco version of Night and Day by the chairman of the board.
Night and day.
This one goes way back, the song does. Cole Porter wrote Night and Day for the 1932 Broadway musical The Gay Divorce with Fred Astaire in it.
I think of night and day.
Night and Day was Sinatra's first hit as a solo artist, going to number 16, and he actually recorded the song multiple times throughout his career.
Night and day.
including the infamous 1977 disco-infused version. Dropped in his reprise era, and it was arranged and produced by jazz guitarist Joe Beck. Now, the idea, of course, was to capitalize on the booming dance craze, but the remix failed to stick the landing and didn't chart on the Hot 100. The one-off reprise experiment didn't even get significant airplay, and wasn't exactly a career highlight for Old Blue Eyes. In fact, it's actually good that most people have forgotten about this or don't even know about it. Talk about the worst idea in music history.
Night and day.
All right, we're here. The #1 punchline track ever. And for this one, I've saved one of my least favorite songs of all time. I try to be positive here, guys, but we all have those songs. Just a heads up, I'm going to take off the kid gloves for this one. I've avoided covering this song on this channel for years. For me, it's the most annoying song ever. If someone wanted to torture me, this would work better on me than waterboarding. Don't get me wrong. If you like the song, that's cool. I'm not dissing you. It's just not for me. I can't stand it. We all have this. All right, let's do it. The year was 1992. Actually, 92 and 93. And this song was exploding all over radio and MTV. It went to #1 in 15 different countries. Though not in the US, surprisingly, it was cited by Rolling Stone as one of the top 10 one-hit wonders of the 90s. Can you guess it? Before I get to it, from the album Bigger, Better, Faster, More, it's What's Up by 4 Non Blondes. Just by saying it, it'll be in my head for the next 5 days. Formed in 1989, 4 Non Blondes was fronted by talented vocalist Linda Perry, and the lineup also included bassist Krista Hillhouse, drummer Don Richardson, and guitarist Roger Roca. The alt-rock foursome rose out of the Bay Area, signed to Interscope, and released their one and only album in 1992. That album peaked at #11 on the Billboard 200 and went on to sell 6 million copies, so it was big. Interestingly enough, What's Up is actually an 80s song. At least it started out that way. It had its beginnings before 4 Non Blondes got together, and has ties to future Third Eye Blood frontman Stephen Jenkins. As a pair of struggling San Francisco musicians, Stephen remembers sitting in a room with Perry and playing songs for each other. And among them, Linda played What's Up, and Stephen, he played his future hit Semi-Charmed Life. Much better song in my opinion. At least one good thing came out of that collaboration. Semi-Charmed Live went to #4 on the Hot 197 and was a #1 alternative chart hit as well for that. What's Up, for its part, was released on March 11, 1993 as 4 Non Blondes' second single. Does anybody remember the first? I didn't think so. It was called Dear Mr. President, and it failed to chart on the US Hot 100 at all. However, What's Up did make it to #14 here, and the music video for What's Up became a hit on MTV and featured the band performing the track in that early 90s flannel thrift store aesthetic. Top hat and goggles included, of course. Throughout the video, you've got Linda Perry screaming from the top of her lungs that "Hey Ya" chorus and trying to get up that great big hill of hope, whatever that means. Intercut with the performance are shots of the band outdoors swinging on swings and stomping in puddles. 90s fare, right? Directed by Morgan Lawley, the clip received a 1993 MTV Video Music Award nomination for Best Alternative Rock Video. It lost out to Nirvana's In Bloom, and for one hot minute, it looked like 4 Non Blondes might get a chance to redeem themselves with a second album. During the making of that second album in 94, the group broke up. Perry would also say that she wasn't happy with Bigger, Better, Faster, More. She's not the only one. So in early 1995, Linda Perry left for a solo career and went on to produce and write songs for artists like Christina Aguilera, Pink, Gwen Stefani, and others in the 2000s. And great songwriter, very talented. I don't want to take anything away from her. Meanwhile, What's Up would find a newfound fame via the growing meme culture of the new millennium. In 2005, a group of animators called Slack Circus created a video titled Fabulous Secret Powers. The 4.5-minute video featured clips from the He-Man cartoon synced to a ridiculous rendition of What's Up. It begins with the hyper-masculine He-Man, as Prince Adam, getting in touch with his touchy-feely side, singing the first verse of the song accompanied by some melancholy piano. But when he gets to the chorus, he throws his head back against a glittery rainbow background and starts the Linda Perry well. The song then hits overdrive and becomes a synthesized remix of What's Up. It was so absurd it went viral before viral was even a thing. Said Slack Circus in the video's description, since 2005, there have been all manner of tributes, remixes, and even 5 to 10 hour loops of this video. We're extremely happy so many people have enjoyed this video over the years. It actually currently boasts 8.3 million views on YouTube alone. Not too long after its appearance online, the clip became a widely circulated meme with a running gag with all kinds of ridiculous variations to it. And it's great. So there you have it. The great songs that have become the punchlines of jokes. Leave us a comment about these songs. What are your memories of these songs? What's your favorite song of these? What do you think is that really bad song that you love, or that really good song that you hate, or the really bad song that you hate, whatever it is. Let's have a great discussion below. Not take it too seriously, just have fun with it. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.